Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of our weekly webinar series. I'm Dr. George Ozude. We have Dr. Breathe Easy, Biofasania, and we are your hosts. This evening, we're excited to bring on Wagner Nolasco as our expert guest speaker. Wagner is CEO of Build to Rent Direct, and this is a fully turnkey real estate investing company headquartered in Orlando, Florida. And he has over 20 years of experience as a real estate investor, developer, and builder. And with his company, he integrates property management and homeowner insurance services along with single family and multifamily property ownership opportunities. Beyond that, he has a resume of truly impressive lifetime achievements, including police officer of the city of Claremont, Florida. He has 5,000 hours of volunteer service with the USO, and he is an Amazon #1 best-selling author. And he's a good friend of mine, and for the last 2 years, we are part of the same mentoring club based out of Dallas. He's a respected mentor for Bio and I, and we are really excited to learn from him tonight. And we'll be discussing Build to Rent product, which is an asset class that's quickly rising in popularity over the last few years. And that's kind of high level, but I'll let Wagner take it from here. He has a lot of content for us tonight, and we'll open up the Q&A after that.
Well, thank you, George. Thank you, Bio. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name, once again, is Wagner Nolasco. I have 3 little steps to show to you guys. One, it's a little bit about myself, which I'm going to start sharing my screen. So here we go.
Wagner Vargas Nolasco was born and raised in Brazil and immigrated to the United States in 1993. This is when the American dream was born in his heart, and he became certain that this was the place he would live for the rest of his life. He faced many challenges. Wagner started working at a very young age as a valet parking attendant. At the age of 17, he started his career in construction as a supplier. He found to be working with big builders and developers as he started his next business, the amazing world of real estate.
Before we start getting to the weeds of the Build to Rent, I just want to say that you guys are the highest taxed profession in the country. We understand. We have the same issue internally because we made a lot of income from the clinic, and my wife is a physician, and we had to offset some of those taxes through real estate. So this is really important for you guys as well. What we do is a little bit different than anybody else on the Build to Rent side, because what we try to accomplish is we create a plan. How many more years do you want to work? How much passive income do you want to make? What's your tax consequences? And we're going to customize a plan for you on actually how much disposable income do you have. And then we're going to customize a plan for you on how actually to make you more productive, pay less taxes legally, and absolutely, get you to the financial freedom, which is really important to us. Who is Wagner Nolasco? Well, as probably you had seen, I have delivered over $700 million worth of inventory. We have another $750 million of land and projects underway right now. As you all know, interest rates are a little high. The market has changed a little bit after COVID. We're navigating through that, but it's about $750 million still under development. Very, very important is I have the financial freedom. I'm actually talking to you guys and girls right now from Nassau, Bahamas. I'm in a cruise, so having financial freedom allows me not only to have the capital, but also the time. I have a very large portfolio of real estate myself, which allows me to, actually, I don't know if you guys can see my shirt, but rent is due in Florida every first of the month, and we really appreciate that. So that can generate a lot of passive income. We also do cost segregation, bonus depreciation, so we can actually write it off, a lot of those taxable depreciations on the properties, making sure our passive income is almost tax-free. So that's, we love to pay taxes, but just as much legally as possible with all the tax breaks that we have. Most important is educate yourself. You guys are good students. You're doctors. A lot of you are. So you know how good and how important education is, but also education in financial independence and what that number may be for you. It's individual, right? So whatever that may be for you, just make sure you actually search for the financial independence and the education so you guys can achieve that. plan your finances properly. A lot of doctors are, you guys go to residency making very, very little. Once you actually finish residency, you have sign-up bonuses. You end up working for big chains, big healthcare systems. And so when you really realize is, hey, you guys can take a week off or 10 days off or 30 days off. Like when I went to Alaska, I took 20 days off to go on a motorcycle trip. So having the time is almost as important as capital. So plan it accordingly, build an investment plan, and make sure that you have a business that can generate passively for you, grow your portfolio. Why Build to Rent Direct? We're the largest Build to Rent company in the state of Florida. We just expanded about a couple weeks ago to Texas. We now have an office in Lubbock, Texas, with two amazing partners. One is a developer, another one is one of the largest engineer in West Texas. So we're actually starting to build in Texas as well as our second state. And we have an active project in Louisiana as well. This is just a little bit about some of the projects that we have. As I had mentioned, we have over 3,270 units in different stages of construction. So anything from permitting to horizontal infrastructure and vertical construction happening right now. And most important, you're as big as your dreams. Always believe in yourself. Make sure you guys make time for your financial education and your financial freedom, because it's really important, not only for your future, but also so it can help you create a legacy and have more time. I have just one more piece of information to share, and then I will go ahead and start answering questions. So this is a little bit about my portfolio, 2022-2023. This is 16 units that we just completed, and it's fully delivered now. It's fully stabilized. This is under construction, 419 single-family homes in Ocala, Florida. Another 18 units at Toledo. It's in Deltona, Florida, right across Halifax Medical Center. So we love to search for areas that are very rich in distribution companies, technology companies, and healthcare. Those are usually our best tenants. Everything we build is for rent, and that's why the name came up to be Build to Rent. We used to do a lot of flips, water flips. Those were actually products we bought at the courthouse from banks, distressed properties. We fixed them up, we kept them as an inventory and a portfolio, or we sold them. Now we only do new construction because your insurance is lower, your capital expenditure cost is lower, and your return on your investment is way higher because you can't find stabilized properties right now at a good price. Just to give you an example, we sold last year 256 townhomes to one institutional buyer for $75 million. So we do sell our assets as well. But most important is we're always looking for that financial independence, financial freedom, everything based upon inventory that actually we keep for ourselves. So we actually sell some, we keep some. That's how we do it. I did stop sharing my screen, and I'm gonna just pass it along to you guys to go ahead and start asking me any questions you may have.
You're mute. Yeah.
So that was awesome, and I invite anyone to ask questions either through the chat, or you can come off mute and come on camera and ask questions. I have one to get things started while we bird dog the chat. Built to feel like it's a relatively newer concept, newer product asset class. What would be your definition of what it is? And so folks can kind of get a good idea and good grasp of how it differs from single family homes or a multifamily apartment building.
So build to rent is a concept that we look for land or infill lots that are pre-existing on a very stabilized neighborhood. And we built the same home as we would to be adjusted to the price point of that neighborhood. But those houses are built differently because they're built exclusively for rent. What do I mean? We use vinyl flooring because actually carpet needs to be replaced every so often. We use granite countertops because it's more resistant. We built with LED lighting. We use Wi-Fi smart thermostats. We use commercial or professional water heaters. So we built that house making sure that the bones and the structure within is going to give you less maintenance. And that whole process of construction and inventory, at the end, it's called build to rent, because everything we build new has a focus to have a tenant placed at the end of the day, as soon as we have the certificate of occupancy. So the construction process is very similar to a regular home, but we have to think much more on how many square feet, what actually the industry is looking and liking at that location, how much are the rents, so we can make sure we build it inexpensively enough, but with high quality enough to make sure we attract the right tenants. We sign up contracts. For example, we have an active contract with SpaceX in Palm Bay, Florida. Every new house that is ready in that area, they have the first opportunity to actually offer that house to one of the moving in engineers from out of state to work for SpaceX. So those commercial relationships build our product as well and add a lot more value. But basically, it's a concept of building a house that it's fully thought out to have a tenant in place.
Awesome. And as investors, we're always kind of curious as to what's going to yield the best returns, what's going to, serve the most people and meet the most demand. Where's the demand? Where, in your perception, where's the demand for this type of product?
Well, I'll give you an idea. For every house that we have ready, we usually have 40 tenant applications. What does that mean? There's not a lot of new homes being available on the market for rent because our product is such high quality with high-end finishes. And girls out there, if you're married, you will be making those decisions. So if you're renting a house, for example, the first things they look for is the kitchen and the master. So those items need to be stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, tile backsplash or granite backsplash, hardwood cabinets with self-closing. We go a lot about what is the product like, how durable is the product, other than anything else. But we love the industries we look for industries that are technology, healthcare, and distribution. Those are our tenant base. That's usually very high demand areas. Let's not forget about the net immigration. We're in Florida. As you guys know, real estate is local. You can compare a house in Montana to a house in Orlando, Ocala, or Austin, Texas, or Lubbock, or Houston and Dallas, right? So real estate is local. Always look at the Sun Belt of the United States if you're looking for cash flow and high appreciation values, because the Wall Street Journal, George, just actually made an announcement a couple of weeks ago, and I just did an article on it. The real estate market is crashing, and then has a big question, where? So in San Francisco, we had almost a 13% price decrease on inventory. Same thing in California. But in Miami, we had a 12% increase on price year over year in January. Orlando, we had a 9.8% increase year over year. So look at the net immigration. Where are those U-Haul trucks driving from and to? And that's going to answer your question.
Yeah, I agree. I think, we see a lot of headlines and it'll say real estate market in it, but that's misleading. There's no one U.S. real estate market. There's just a collection of submarkets.
Correct.
And so you really have to look at the granular level, what's happening in different regions. And I'm in Texas, I'm in Houston, and we're seeing the same dynamics that you're seeing in Florida. I'm invested in actually 4 of these that are in development phase. And I think, it's a big point about the demand that you were making. Like this product is in demand because folks are moving into these states, and there's, like you said, not a lot of enough homes available, right? And people still want that product of a single family home. They want the yard, they want their own walls, and so I think this product does a lot. It goes a long way to meet those demands. For whatever reason, you have these single family homes that are just not in reach, whether it's the interest rates or inflation or just literally lack of supply. They're in demand, right? What's your thought?
I do have a graph, and I'm going to be looking for it in a minute here. I did not thought that I would need to present this, but I have a graph that actually shows per decade in the U.S. since 1930 to today, what's the housing construction numbers? And you guys will be able to see, I will actually locate here and share my screen in a little bit. But actually, we are lacking over 5 million residences because between 2009 and 2019, we only produced 5.8 million residences in the U.S. And in 1930, right, we produced 5.4 million residences. So we went from 2000 And I'm sorry, from 2000 to 2000, from 1998 to, I'm sorry, yes, so from 1998 to 2008, we built almost 27.4 million residences. And then from 2009 to 2019, we dropped to 5.8. What happened to the demographics? What happened to the population? It increased. So we have a lack of residences right now. And people move to Florida, they move to Texas because they want a little bit more elbow room, especially after COVID. They don't want to live in a studio anymore, in an apartment. They're willing to pay a little bit more to have more space, to have a yard, to have more quality of life, as we all know.
Great points. There's a question in the chat. So this one's from Aaron. If you are starting now or stating now, I'm assuming you're starting. If you are starting now and want to build, how would you do it? Any specific state? How many units is the minimum that you recommend?
There's no minimum. Usually I want you guys to feel comfortable. I will tell you that my first 3 residences that I purchased to invest were the hardest and the most scary ones, because I never knew that I made the right decision until they rented and start cash flowing. So do not be afraid. Start with 1. If you feel comfortable, 2, 3, whatever your number may be, but there's not a minimum. What we wanted to make sure is you trust the partner that you identify as being the right partner in the right market with the right location. And within that partner, you're going to grow your portfolio. Also, another advice that I have for you, Aaron, is diversification. Do not buy every property on the same location. For example, I have several houses in different, I have Daytona, I have Orlando, I have Ocala, I have Bellevue, I have Summerfield, I have Palm Bay. So diversify your portfolio, right? So you can make sure you mitigate the risk properly. So the answer is as little as 1 unit to start. There's no maximum. Do as much as you feel comfortable. Now, you are the only person that know how much expendable income you have to invest, but also how quickly do you want to grow your rent portfolio in your cash flow. So what we can do to assist, and with George and Bio as well, is we can help you pretty much do a financial planning, but because we're not economists or attorneys. But what we do is we'll create a plan for you that will allow you within the time frame that you design, because you got to remember you're on the driver's seat here, right? To achieve financial freedom. That can be 1 house right now. It can be 2, it can be 3. You're the boss. You tell us what you need, but when you need it to have that number reached, and we'll help you create the goal.
I like this question because, a lot of us are medical providers or busy professionals, and I think it's a kind of an intimidating thing to figure out how to take the first step. And I know you took that first step, over 20 years ago when you started in real estate. What were you thinking? What was your strategy back then, as far as making that first step, whether it's education or networking?
I think by being a good student, and you guys as well, because you did not achieve all of the accomplishments that you did by not being good students, is I read a book that really changed my life. And that book was Rich Dad and Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I was actually being very blessed to be in some of the events that Robert Kiyosaki was. That book changed my perspective. I knew if I wanted to be successful, I had to change my 9-to-5 income to passive income. I am originally from Brazil. I am ultra conservative. I like to touch things I own. And what I found is real estate gave me that peace of mind to know that I had something that it's a real asset. That's why I chose real estate. Not because I was smart, but I really, Rich Dad Poor Dad changed my life, like many of us. So the reason why I can answer is I found the right asset product for me. Some people can invest in Bitcoin. Some people can invest in carbon scrubbers. There's many asset classes. Car washes right now. A friend of ours, David Zook, is doing car washes, right? And he's raising capital for it. I love to own my own real estate. I like to touch. I like to visit. I like to inspect. And that's why I chose real estate, homes in particularly. It's hard to grow your portfolio owning single family homes, but also you got to think, you make money in real estate when you buy, not when you sell. So you got to buy right in the right market, in the right conditions. Also, very, very important for you to think about is, what does the market look like in the next few years? Is it underpriced? Is it overpriced? what's the net immigration numbers look like? For example, and I know I'm going to get shot for this. A lot of people are investing in self-storage, which is a great asset class right now. I've been reading a lot about self-storage, and all the data is showing the next 30 years is not going to be as good as it is today because millennials, they don't tend to store anything, right? So the demographics change. Everybody needs, and this is my philosophy individually. My wife is a physician. My father-in-law owns a meat processing company, and I do real estate. People who need medical attention, you can't choose not to have it. You need it, and you're going to get it. You need a housing, you need a house, you need a shelter over your head, and you need food. Those are the three basic things that people are going to continue to invest. Now, a very, very important data for you guys is people are not buying as many residences anymore. They prefer to rent. Usually millennials, they live in one location for 3 to 4 years, and then they want to move into the next greatest thing. They sign new contracts, they move on. Elderly people 55 and over, they don't want to keep the maintenance. They don't want to keep up. They're actually renting. So if you take a look at some of the graphics, the rental market is just increasing. We don't see a slowdown anytime soon because people need housing, and we're going to continue to invest. Now, single family homes, as per the strategy that I had mentioned before, is I love single family homes because I own apartment buildings as well, multifamily. But most important is this: how can I make more money on an asset class and a product that I own? Single family homes, I can do many things. One of them is put them in one company and sell it to a REIT or to to Wall Street, like we have before, as one package. I can actually break them down individually and sell them to homeowner occupants, or I can sell them already with a tenant to an investor such as yourself. So you have multiple exit strategies, and that's going to change your whole concept of investment.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, kind of bouncing off of Aaron's question as far as how many units, because if you're turnkey, you can buy one single family home turnkey, or you can buy a set of 4 or 10 or the entire subdivision, right? Can you talk a little bit more about that, about kind of how someone can get into different sizes and different portfolios that you offer?
One of the great things that I would like to educate you guys is there's many, many amazing programs from the federal government that is subsidized, and they called Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. You can have, with subsidized interest rates, up to 10 loans under your personal name. Now, very, very important. If you're married or you have a partner, you can have 10. Your partner can have 10. What does that mean? One loan means one single family home. One loan means a duplex. One loan means a quadruplex. You can have 10 doors, 10 homes. You can have 20 doors if you buy 10 duplexes, or you can have 40 doors if you buy quads. So before you start investing, in my personal opinion, acquiring a multifamily project, because multifamily is extremely institutionalized. You will be buying, selling at a cap rate, and you don't have much leverage. You're going to pay whatever the market is. So if you buy it low, you sell it high, you make money. But most important is a lot of the assets that go on the market, they need a lot of care and love and repairs. Be careful. Capital expenditure can really make or break your investment. So that's why I only buy new. All my personal inventory, after 5, 7, 10 years, I do a 1031 exchange, and I buy a new property without paying any capital gains. So very, very important. Some of the strategies that I utilize by my personal portfolio are, make sure you don't pay any capital gains. You have a strategy for 1031 exchanges. We can cover a little bit more. You actually assemble a great portfolio. It can be 1 house, 2 houses, 3 houses, 10 townhouses, duplexes, whatever your taste may be. Every investor has a different taste, and there's no right or wrong product. You are the boss. You're going to find exactly what serves your purpose.
So just going to piggyback on that, because I actually want to know the answer to that question also. How, let's say some of our investors want to buy a single one, already rented. How can they buy it? And also, do you have management in place? How does this work? Just an example, I want to buy one, or I want to buy 2 right now from you.
Great question, Bio. So the answer is we do have them in stock available right now. And we are developers, builders, we are brokers, so we can actually do the transaction of the sale for you and transfer title, help you with the financing as well. We own a property management company in-house that all actually take care of all of our personal inventory as well as our clients. And we own an insurance company. So we're fully verticalized to serve our clients. We pretty much do from A to Z. So it's one person, one call, one company that'll serve all of your purposes. So the best way to purchase a property is we'll schedule a call. You can go to our website, which is www.b2rdirect.com. My cell phone, and you can actually write it down and you can send me a text and we can schedule a call, is 305-684-2222. We'll customize a plan for you so you can buy the property that serves your needs. What property does serve your needs? How much expendable capital you have right now? How much actually do you want to pay for a property? How much are the comps for the property? How much are the rent revenues for those properties? We'll do all these studies and present everything to you on a cash flow sheet form for your analysis and your due diligence.
So just a general ballpark, what kind of returns on average are you seeing? I know that this is going to be it's going to vary, but I just want to know, because there is some element to, advantage to you doing some of it yourself so you can get more return. But at the same time, is it going to be better than a syndication? So we try to find a way that is there way to be almost passive, but you're still getting good enough return. So that's what I'm trying to
But
get.
with us, it's fully passive. If you wish, we can manage, we can do everything for you. You don't have to have a second job. But, real estate is a full-time job. So we don't want you guys to have a second job. So we do everything for you. The advantages of buying a single family home that it's on your personal portfolio is because you're going to gain, especially if you're the owner, you're going to gain a lot of the tax credits. It's 100% yours. If you're in a syndication, if you're an LP, which is a limited partner, it depends. You're probably not going to get as many benefits on that syndication as you will on a single family home. Now, syndications are great because also you have great managers, great general partners are going to manage that investment for you, and they have a lot of accredited investors with you. Both asset classes are great. I have syndications on my personal portfolio. I do syndications as well, but I own a lot of real estate as well on my portfolio. I have a trust that I set it up for my family and my kids. And my kids can only sell one property per year after 21 years of age if I pass away. So I want to guarantee that they have passive income for a long time. Minimizing also very, very important, all the generational income and taxes that they will actually have to pay in case if I pass away or if I die. So we already structure all of that. I think there's a question on the chat as well that says, should we do it under a LLC, right? Or a personal? That answer is for liability purposes. I always use an LLC. If this is your first investment, second investment, third investment, you can do it under your personal name. Now, to answer that question, it's better for you to speak to an attorney to give you the right advice. I don't know how much assets you have. I don't know your liabilities. So that question may be probably more appropriate for your attorney. I have all my properties under LLCs. To minimize the risk, I keep a maximum of 5 to 6 properties per LLC, but now which they actually carried into a trust, which is much more complex, much more expensive structure to create. Unless you have enough real estate, it's not recommended yet. But an LLC, I usually utilize. My attorney advised me to use it under LLC just for personal liability purposes.
Yeah. I would also add to that, chat with a CPA, a good real estate CPA, because there may be some tax implications of whether you purchase a property as an LLC versus in your name. And I'm particularly thinking about the short-term rental tax loopholes, which is actually fairly attractive for a lot of physicians, that you can actually, potentially get W-2 or 1099 earned income tax benefits if you have an investment property that's, I believe, in your name. So you may want to check with a CPA as well as legal attorney on that. But that's a great question.
I'm going to chime in too. I also believe in completely LLC. I have no single property under my personal name except my personal house, and that is, tenants jointly tenants in entirety with me and my wife to give an extra layer of protection, which in Arkansas it's almost impossible to take your house anyways from you. so,
Yes.
so so that in terms of protection, so you need like an asset protection lawyer also. We will look at all your assets as a whole and see where you can use your personal name, where you can use your trust, where you can use an LLC. So, but like Wagner said, oftentimes this matters a lot more when you have a lot more asset. If all you really have to your name is a couple of 100,000 with, and you're buying your first property, it may not mean as much as, you're buying multifamily and you're in the millions of net worth now. So, yeah. So that's just my take.
Bio, I would like to compliment one thing that you asked that I did not answer yet, and I apologize. What's the return on some of those rental properties, right? So usually the return is about 6 to 8% a year, cash on cash returns. We extremely advise to use leverage. I use leverage almost in everything I own, and that's how I was able to multiply my personal portfolio. And everybody's talking about interest rates. Actually, this week, interest rate starts coming down a little bit. That's good news. Am I buying properties on the high inflation and high interest rates right now? The answer is yes, because we will have, and maybe I'm wrong, this is only my prediction, we will have a shortage of inventory starting in November, December of this year. And the reason why is it's because builders are not producing as many inventory as we used to. Interest rates are very high. Cost of construction loans are very high. So we're really picking and choosing what to start. We're finishing everything that we currently have under construction. So we will have an inventory shortage. And if you're in the right market, in the right location, you know what's going to happen to the prices, right? They're going to skyrocket. Just like during 2020, 2021, during COVID, where we had very little inventory.
I have a quick question. Sorry, it's difficult for me to type on my phone, so I'll just rather do it. I'll just rather speak. So just talking about short-term rentals, in your experience, or as part of, the properties you've been managing for other people as your property management company, do you guys do a lot of short-term rental management? Do you have people who buy property from you and they want you to manage it and they're using those as short-term rentals?
So the answer is yes. We don't build short-term. I'm actually building my first short-term rental, which is an apartment building. Actually, it's a condo building. And it's 68 units, and we purchased the last piece of land adjoining Animal Kingdom. So we're neighbors of Disney right now. So that's why this property is so special, and that's why we're doing short-term. We manage long-term rentals only. We do have friends that own short-term rental companies, and yes, we can source a good short-term rental property for you. Central Florida, specifically in Orlando, where I live and where actually my offices are located, it's the largest short-term rental place capital in the world. I mean, this is the most competitive, but yet the most rewarding markets in the country. Short-term rentals, I just purchased my first two. So I am learning as well, but I love it. It's exciting, and it's a great investment. I have found to be a great investment, which can really exponentiate your cash flow. Now, in my personal opinion, I have found that short-term rentals in some markets will not appreciate as much as long-term rentals. So you have to pick and choose what you're looking for. So long-term rentals, in my opinion, they'll give you good cash flow, but a lot more appreciation. Short-term rental will give you a lot more cash flow, some more tax benefits as well for your W-2 and 1099 income, but maybe not as much appreciation as you would in the long term. So I hopefully that cover for you a lot. But if I miss anything, please let me know, and I'll be more than glad to compliment.
Hey, Wagner.
That was good. Thank you.
I had a question about groups coming in to purchase larger, units, number of units. Do syndication groups, can they come in, or JV groups come in and buy, more than, one, two, they can get up to 10, 15, 20 different units. Have you worked with groups like that?
Absolutely. Actually, I own a syndication fund right now, and we ended up buying property from my construction company. Actually, I don't know if you guys know Dr. Tom Burns. Tom Burns wrote the book, Why Doctors Don't Get Rich, which is amazing. And George, Dr. Uzud, actually, he read all the manuscripts before publishing the book. So he's the one that actually gave a lot of guidance into it. Tom and I, we created a fund that's called F4, and it stands for Fun, Family, Freedom, and Family, Fun, Freedom, and Jesus. Tom is going to be embarrassed today because I forgot the last four. But I'm going to
finances.
Family,
finances,
Family, Fun, Freedom, and Friendship. So those are the four components of our fund. So yes, we buy properties from us as well. So yes, syndicators are more than welcome. We'll help you actually make sure the number works. Most important, I want to touch before I finalize that question is I have recently invested into 104 homes. This is all our own personal capital in Birmingham, Alabama. We're building a new structure that it's a galvanized steel structure. Remember that the only state in the whole United States out of the 50 states that build in concrete block is Florida. Every other state in the nation builds with wood frame. So your house that you're living in probably right now is a wood frame house. We've been working on this project for 2 years to create a property that can be easily assembled and built. And our build time on this homes right now are 6 weeks. So we go from land to finished product in about 6 weeks. We're just completing 104 of those. So we plan to really revitalize the low-income entry-level market properties. With properties should be about between $175,000 and $200,000 for 1,400 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bathrooms. So location, quality of the properties, tenant ready and tenant resilient homes is really the answer. How can you make more money spending, less money purchasing the property and exponentiating your cash flow? I just want to touch a little bit on that. That's a project that we're finalizing right now with our own capital just to test it out. It's going extremely well, and we're going to roll out for syndicators very, very shortly as well. And that's going to be a game changer in the whole build to rent space and industry, because right now, from the time that you place an order on a house, for me to have that house ready for you is about 8 months. Removing a lot of the construction time, permitting is going to be still the same, about 3 to 4 months, but now additional 6 weeks, I'll have their house ready. So it's going to be completely game changer, really amazing to see properties being built and more tenants being served with the high quality product that we produce.
When you buy in bulk like that, either with a syndication JV or just even a single buyer, does it affect the price points for getting per unit or the returns that you get?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. The more you buy, the better of a deal we can negotiate with you and for you, because actually everything we do is we call the economy of scale, right? So when we buy products, we buy it in bulk. So the more units we have to deliver, the cheaper the product becomes, and we can negotiate better contracts because we only work for investors. Actually pass it along the savings to the investors. And yes, we just last year, as I had mentioned, we have a very high demand for very, very high net worth family offices, Wall Street funds, and REITs, real estate investment trusts, coming and buying $75 million worth of properties, 256 units in one purchase. So we have seen more and more big players competing with us, mom and pop investors in that market. So you guys still have an upper hand. That's what I try to leave here for you is, there's a lot of companies like ours that I'd rather work with mom and pop and give you the financial freedom, help you build the financial freedom, than to sell all of our assets to a REIT. Even though cash is green, it's exactly the same. We're serving a purpose much bigger if we're helping people, break the golden handcuffs make more time for you and your family, get more vacation time, have more passive income, have better tax credits and tax planning for you. So that's really what changed my life, is being able to be financial free. I love what I do. I'll continue to work hopefully until God allows me, but I don't have to. I can be anywhere, any day, anytime, and my rent's still going to come in. So, and I hopefully every one of you guys in one point of your life will be able to have the feeling as well. You will do what your gift is, which is medicine, a lot of you, by pure pleasure and not by only needing, right? It's completely different when you can perform your dream, your passion, your gift with love and only love. And you'll continue to make money, but you don't have to have the practice running for you to be able to pay your bills. And that's, I'll tell you right now, my wife, as soon as we changed the model, we're all cash clinic right now. We don't work with insurance companies. She got back that passion for medicine. She got back that, she takes care of her patients right now the way she wants. She doesn't have to write reports. I mean, she enters all the data, but now she doesn't have to write reports for the insurance companies. Wait for the remaining of the copay to come in. So that I am a living proof that you guys can achieve that, because 30 years ago, I came from a very third world country. I made it happen. I'm not smarter than you physicians here in this room. Trust me, I'm not. If I did it, everybody can do it. And my wife has changed her life and her love for medicine by being able to be financial free.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. As you know, I'm a big fan of that model. So
yes.
I know.
And a pioneer at it too.
Yeah.
Orthopedics too. Like
Yeah.
that's the big money right there.
Yeah.
The location though, I mean, I always thought about that in Arkansas. And to be honest, I don't know if they have enough cash paying people in my state, like Florida or Houston. But definitely it's a good model though. So congratulations.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
you'll be surprised, my friend. There's cash pay patients everywhere, and the reason why is you ended up costing less for them overall than what they would pay on the insurance. Sometimes only the copay is sufficient for you to actually provide an excellent service. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm married to one. I think I'm part of the family, but I'm that guy on the fence,
It is a complex issue, but when you start adding up premiums, deductibles, co-pays, it starts getting interesting, kind of comparing what the value and the price points are. So it's definitely a full webinar.
I know you need to come. You need to do one of those, man. Like
that'd be an awesome one, George.
Yeah. Maybe you guys can double up on it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I had a question about kind of exit for investors or folks who buy some of your properties. It's like they own it outright. They can choose to sell it one day, or can they choose to rent it out to another end buyer or another investor? Like what are the exits for someone who comes in and buys one of your properties?
Great question. You can own it outright. I highly recommend you to use leverage, because we are the only country in the world, the U.S., that actually has a 30-year fixed interest rate, which is a big gift. And we're going to start seeing a lot of that coming back, George, where assumable mortgages are going to be worth a lot, right? Almost 45% of all mortgages issued in the U.S. have interest rates lower than 3%. How much would you like to buy a property with a 3% interest rate, right? It was huge. So those loans are going to have a lot of value also on the property. The reason why I love single family homes, and I'm going to tell you the exit strategy on each one of the asset class that we have. I'm going to start with the multifamily, which is the apartment buildings. Unfortunately, those asset classes only have one exit strategy. You got to sell it to one buyer. That buyer can be an individual, can be a syndication, it can be a LLC, it can be a REIT, it can be a fund, it can be a Wall Street family office. You're going to buy it on a cap rate, and you're going to sell it on a cap rate. So your gains are limited to the market, to the amount of appreciation and improvements you did, how competent were you to raise the rents. And that's what's going to determine at the end of the day, that asset class individually, which is multifamily. Now, when you go to townhomes and single family homes, which is my most amazing and my passion for, is they're actually priced individually. You can sell it to a homeowner occupant. You can sell it to an investor, just like us, a mom and pop investors that is looking to carry that lease over and continue to rent. You can sell it to a REIT, a fund, or a Wall Street family office as well, because now Blackstone just finalized a raise for $20 billion. It's the largest raise in the history of the United States for investment in single family homes and in this kind of an asset class. So there's multiple exit strategies. Why is that important? Because you don't know what the market is going to be in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. So having more exit strategies is better. So you can sell it with a lease to another investor. You can sell it to a REIT or a fund. You can sell it to a homeowner occupant. Same thing as a townhouse. But why do I like a lot more single family homes than townhomes? And I own all three asset classes. It's because it's the most appreciating asset in history. Single family homes appreciate more than any other asset in history of real estate.
Awesome.
Yeah. In terms of cash flow, though, so that's what I found, that the cash flow with single family is usually less, right?
Yes.
And because we do have multifamily, some as high as 20% cash on cash. I'm talking about really great cash flow, especially in Oklahoma, like the kind of sea area in Oklahoma, Arkansas, the cash flow. Okay, but the appreciation is not like you said, it's not going to be as great. You have to force the appreciation in this case versus single family in like Florida, where you buy $230,000 and now you sell it for $1 million, like 5 to 10 years later. So, but the cash flow is always the issue in the beginning. So I'm actually quite impressed that you guys are able to, especially in Orlando, able to cash flow a single family. Like able to get like 8% cash on cash, even 6%.
Yeah, the reason why we're able to, and let me just say this, that this can change month to month, day to day, depending on the interest rates, right? Because when you use leverage, everything changes, especially for us as well, because the cost of construction goes up depending on the interest rates, how much interest and how much the construction loans actually increase. But it's because we sell our properties below fair market value. I'll give you an example. We just sold several homes right now in Palm Bay for $320,000. Talking about the appreciation before we get into the cash flow. 3 years ago, I was selling the same house for $195,000. Now, that house is appraising today. If a buyer came in off the street to purchase that home from me, I would sell it to him or to her for $370,000. So there's a big gap between what the investor pays, which is not fair market value, and what the fair market value of the property is. That's how you increase your cash flow day one. Another thing that we have been doing because of the high interest rates is we're offering 1 year property management for free. So you're not going to pay anything on your property management. Usually we charge 8% a month on all the rent income. So that actually is free. So you're making an additional 8%. On your first year, you're going to make more probably than a lot more than double digit cash flow. It's because in Florida, the property taxes is based upon the assessed value of the property, not the fair market value. And on the first year, the city only accounts the lot as the assessed value of the property. So you're going to make a huge amount of cash flow in the first year. But our suggestion is calculate the right cash flow, which is based on the second years of the property tax, so you can have an accurate number. And that's how we're able to do it, selling the property cheaper for investors, making sure you have more cash flow. And when push comes to shove and interest rates go up or anything happens on the market, we are always here to come and help you guys by probably providing an additional service at no cost.
Can you speak to the insurance market in Florida? I mean, there's a lot in the news, and, to the extent that some of us are following it, it's kind of making you a little nervous getting into the Florida market. I'm talking of property insurance. That's my first question. And then my other question is, now, I don't know if you've watched football, well, what you guys call soccer here, but I'm not sure if you're a fan of soccer, but the World Cup is coming to North America in a few years, right? And there's this
Yes.
idea that there are certain cities that are already seeing the supposed impact of that in the real estate market. A good example is Atlanta area. Atlanta has always been a very good market. I live in Atlanta, but there's this idea that there will be an artificial inflation of the property market and property values or property of the market, only for things to kind of maybe not crash, but kind of come down real quick after that. What's your take on that? Do you think there will be an artificial inflation, and then things are of the property values, and then things are gonna come crashing because of the World Cup in cities or in areas that will probably be hosting the World Cup?
All right, those are great questions. So let me start with the insurance, which is the most hairy one. So everything we build, this is a very good question. When you're buying a property in Florida, you got to make sure that you have the right flood zone, meaning the best flood zone you can purchase by FEMA is flood zone X. Everything we build is on flood zone X. So your insurance premium is going to be lower because the probability of a flood is going to be minimal. Now, because we build new properties, and this is the catch that people don't realize. When you have a new property, your insurance policy should be 70 to 75% less expensive than an existing property. Why? Because you have the most updated construction code, mitigation code, and so on a newer home, insurance is lower than an old home. That's why on our product, because it's brand new with 2020, 2021, 2022 construction codes updates, we have the best, most recent building code, and our insurance premiums are lower. Now, what's happening in Florida is this. We had a huge problem with roofs. A lot of, it's fraud, really. That's what we should call it, right? Homeowners that have old roofs are suing insurance companies to replace those roofs. That's what happens in Florida. Also, we have an insurance company that's semi-subsidized by the state of Florida. So it's becoming very, very hard to get insurance in Florida, but that is for old existing units. You cannot get insurance on a property right now unless you have a wind mitigation and a 4-point inspection in Florida. If you have a brand new property, you don't need those inspections. You get an insurance policy pretty much immediately. And I'll give you an idea. On my properties in Ocala, I think my premium for a 12-month premium is like $340 a year. For a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,400 square feet house that I rent for about $1,750 a month. So that shows you a little bit about the insurance premiums. Going to the World Cup, I don't think the Sun Belt of the United States, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina are markets that are inflated. I think that we will continue to grow. And that's just because the net immigration, people are moving here tremendously. Miami, for example, Goldman Sachs closed their offices in New York and moved all of their offices to Miami. Amazon is here, Tesla is here, Blue Origin is here, SpaceX is here, Lockheed Martin is here, Goldman Sachs, a lot of the financial companies are coming here. Tampa is the same way. So I don't foresee the World Cup being a big problem or a big price increaser on those cities. I think the markets are going to continue to grow where people want to live. If people do not want to live on the West Coast anymore as much, they wanted to buy, I call Florida cheap and cheerful. I think we're still very inexpensive compared to a lot of other markets for what we offer. And look at the jobs. Where are the jobs going? This is what we do. And we buy studies from John Burns, for example, which is a great data marketing company here in the US. You got to look for jobs, growth, and demographics. If you know where those are, you're never going to have a problem investing because you can follow where the jobs are moving to, how many units are available on the market. We speak a lot with the economical development team from the city to see how many units are needed in that area as well. So we just don't say, hey, measure the wind, let's build it. There's many complex studies that we hire, we pay a lot of money for to make sure we have the right markets.
I wonder if there's going to be something for the short-term rentals, like what Ayo was talking about. In those kind of area, if, at least a temporary surge,
But you hit it right in the head. I think that's going to be much more for the short-term rental markets than to the long-term rental markets.
Awesome.
So
Well,
you said you provide like you're a very vertical company, right? You guys try to keep all the services in house. I mean that's pretty impressive. Just for the sake of comparison, now how do your loan rates compare with the bigger players? Like or the general. If I go to the market now to get a loan, I kind of have an idea how much I'm going to be looking at in terms of the actual cost of the loan, the rates and the cost of the loan. How does your service or your services, how do they compare with that? What makes you guys the go-to place as opposed to people that we already have relationships with and stuff like that?
That's a great question. So we don't do mortgages. We'll help you, guide you through the process. But I highly recommend you to quote. Right now, the rates are about 6.25% for an investment property this week. I actually just signed up to get another 2 units for myself, and 6.25% is my quote. I highly suggest you to quote with multiple people. Use their rates against somebody else's so you can get the best deal. I never tell you to close the deal with one mortgage broker or one firm before comparing rates. So highly, highly, highly recommend and advise, go with the one that serves you best. I don't care who you use. You can use your local banks. Credit unions, for example, are awesome partners. Awesome. If you have a local credit union for physicians that work well with you guys, that you have a personal relationship, they have great interest rates. So we'll help you, guide you through the process, but we don't provide those services. But even on insurance, I want to provide a quote to you, but I want you to have others. I want you to buy what's best for you. The reason why we're fully vertically integrated is to serve you better. But if you choose to go with a different provider that has a better price and a better service, we're here to support you along the way.
so essentially, you can still manage the property yourself or hire another third party. You just have an option to kind of vertically integrate all of that.
Correct.
Nice. No?
Well, Wagner, how can folks get a hold of you? I think I have your number, but is there any other platform or way for people to get a hold of you?
Can you type it? Can you type it into the chat also? Because I tried to get your number and email and website.
Perfect. I will try to place that in the chat here, but I'm going to verbally let you guys know as well. My website is www.b2rdirect.com. My personal cell phone number is 305-684-2222. I'm on Instagram if you wanted to follow me as well. It's Wagner Nolasco.official, and that's my Instagram. I respond quite quickly as well. Either text messages. I think George just put it on the chat, so everything is already there. Do not hesitate. I'm here to help you guys. Once again, I resonate with you. I was sitting there paying a lot of taxes, having a lot of same problems you guys are having. My wife being a physician, we lived through. We met before she went to medical school, so we went through the whole thing together. I know how powerful the golden handcuffs can be, and I really hope that each one of you can really live a legacy for your family and your kids. And I don't know if you guys know this, but do you know how kids spell love? It's Time. It's called time. They don't know if you are a billionaire, if you have $1 in your wallet. Make sure you have enough time dedicated for yourself and for your family before the big man up there calls you. So make sure you live the precious moments of life before it's over, because life is too short, and you guys deal with this on a daily basis. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Hopefully I'll be able to serve you guys, even if it's not to do business. If you have a personal question, if you need an advice, if you wanted to know anything, we're here for you as friends. So I really appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Love it. Love it. That's our most precious resource, is time, for sure.
Yep.
Agreed.
Time health capital, right? You picked the best name.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, thank you again, Wagner. We appreciate your time and all your information that you shared with us tonight. We definitely hope to see you soon. And, we wish you the best in everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. I will ask for your permission to take a screenshot so we can post
go
it
for it.
later on.
That's social proof.
Let me have a big smile, everybody.
Yep. Awesome.
Thank you,
And
guys.
thank
so
you everyone
much.
for attending tonight. So we will have our next event in our next webinar series in 2 weeks. We'll be bringing on a fellow physician who's a syndicator and a real estate multifamily investor. So we're looking forward to Dr. Raj giving us our next webinar. So stay tuned for that banners and the emails coming out for that. So again, thank you everybody and enjoy your Saturday evening. Thanks, Wagner.
Okay,
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate the
Wagner.
opportunity. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.